across the Channel to unblock the flow of trade as fast as possible. And the government at all levels is communicating with our friends in Paris. I've just spoken to President Macron. We had a very good call, and we both understand each other's positions and want to resolve these problems as fast as.
Get some more analysis on this. Mark Simmonds, is the head of policy and external affairs over at the British Ports Association. He also joins us live from London. Mark, good to have you on. I know that you're listening to Simon, so I'm going to sort of pick off where he actually mentioned a point. I mean, in a major event like this, one can truly not fully fathom the full scope of the disruption. I mean, some of the things that Simon mentioned in terms of food shortages is what comes to my mind, but there's also drugs shortages, possibly medicinal supplies, but it's so much more than that. I mean, help us understand the scope of this, how big the scope is, and how crippling it could be.
Well, actually, I'd say I'm not going to panic anybody. I don't think we're at the stage yet where we're looking at shortages. As you had in your package there, the UK government is working very closely with the French to try and unblock or allow freight to begin flowing again. One of the issues that you've raised there is the important crossing between Dover and Calais, but there are other routes for goods to get into the country from France and from other parts of Europe. There are dozens of major ports around the UK, so there are other ways to get things in, especially food and what we classify as category 1 or the most critical goods, such as medicines. And the government actually already has systems in place to ensure that they can get through on other routes as well. So we're not too worried about medicines and drugs for the moment, but it is critical that we get freight flowing again across the Dover Straits and on other routes as well.
Mark, I mean, I do see where you're coming from, and I do appreciate your optimism, but the decision to close the border is undoubtedly a dramatic one. It is a major trade route, and it's caused, to some degree, some disruption. I mean, even if France does reopen the border anytime soon, I'm assuming the backlog will take some time to sort of shift out, especially if drivers, an infrastructure needs to be set up where drivers need to be tested before crossing the channel.
Yes, we don't know what measures are going to be in place to allow drivers to pass into France, and we hope that they will be, that they will cause minimal disruption. That's obviously not ideal, and the decision to close the border to freight did take us a little bit by surprise, and it would be difficult to implement. But as I say, that there are other routes to get goods in. And although this isn't ideal, for some weeks now, hauliers and freight operators have been stockpiling. As I'm sure you're aware, we're coming to the end of the Brexit transition period in a week's time. So a lot of people were already moving goods and stockpiling them in the UK before this happened, in order to beat potential disruption next week. So in that respect, there's already goods in, plenty of food in for Christmas, for example, which lots of people were worried about. Yes, the key thing is making sure that accompanied freight, so lorry drivers can travel, and making sure that those systems are put in place with minimal disruption, because as you can see there on your pictures, it's the usual situation at Dover in particular. The freight flows like a conveyor belt. There aren't many opportunities to stop lorries for checking drivers and so on. So we need to make sure that that's done in an appropriate way, ideally away from the port.
Mark, I have about 30 seconds left on the segment, but help me understand. I mean, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I mean, talks between the UK and the European Union aren't very rosy in terms of the trade agreement in the Brexit talks. We know how they're going. Some people are doubtful that it's just about this new strain, this new mutation. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I shouldn't comment too much on that. I do understand the reaction of some European countries. It's not just France that have done this. Other countries all over the world that aren't part of the EU have have put restrictions in place on travel between the UK as well. So I'm going to stay away from the conspiracy theories for now. But
Okay.
I'd say the main issue is that to keep freight moving between France and the UK, and that's our priority.
Fair enough. All right, I understand. All right, Mark Simmonds from the British Ports Association, thank you very much.